Welcome back to the frozen fields of Perthshire in bonny Scotland. Lots of blue sky, but we've had the coldest night of the winter so far. And it is cold. It's still below freezing in the shade. But I am back. I am back on the field that has produced an incredible 7 silver coins in the last 2 digs, which is unbelievable. The oldest being from the early 1700s. It's also produced quite a number of foreign coins from what I think is Europe, but possibly even 1 or 2 from India as well, and hopefully more to come. So you might have noticed on my last video, I did promise that I was going to do a little bit of a lightbox session, but on the walk home, yours truly got a phone call from the BBC asking me to go on their programme that night and do a live interview about metal detecting in Scotland. Initially I thought, no chance, but with some persuasion from my wife, basically, you will do it, I did it, and it was a great experience. So I'll put a clip of that up, maybe on the next video. But let's go and see if there's any treasures to be found. Well, I've only been going for a couple of minutes. I'm using this new XP app on your phone again for tracking, so I know where I've been, I know where I haven't been, and I know where all the good finds came from. I'll be doing a little review on that at some point. You don't need to have an XP metal detector to use it. And as I say, just a few minutes in and we've got the first digger. 86, 87. The ground's got a little bit of a crust on top, but thankfully it's diggable. Don't think it's a coin though. I think we're in with the dreaded aluminium to begin with. And fingers crossed, I checked about 20 times before I left the house, and I think I've got everything. Well, there we go. Start as you mean to go on. It's actually a bit of lead, crusty lead, but must have been pretty shallow. This one was a right mess. It was away down at 60 and it was away up at 98, and dug it out. It's actually 2 targets. Somewhere there is a 65, and over there is an ear blowing 89-90. So fairly deep hole. The second target, the one over here, that that was the deeper of the 2. It was about 12 inches down. I've actually got it out. I have. To be honest, I think this is going to be a bit of copper, or there's something there, or a bit of a tin foil or something, and that's pretty thin looking. It is just a wee fragment of tin foil or thin aluminium. Target number 2, let's have a wee look at that. Over here, there's something white. Right there. Well, that's lead. It's lead, and it's, well, it looks like it might be another weight. Let's turn that off for a second. It looks like a weight. Get you in the sun. Turning out to be a beautiful day. I've taken the hat off, getting a bit of a sweat on. So there you go. It's not a seal. There's no space for a ribbon to pass through. It looks too thick as well. Let's give it a wee rub. The ground's quite dry, as you can see. It's not rained for certainly 6 or 7 days, so things are drying up a little bit. And the frost, we've had a few frosts over the last few nights. That will help dry the ground up too. But it's just plain. It's very, very smooth. Very smooth, but probably a lead weight, I'm guessing. Weight wise, probably about ½ ounce, so about 14-15 grams maybe. And it could be any age. I mean, that could be medieval, it could be post-medieval through to the 1700s-1800s, but I'll need to check the weight of it when I get home and see if it corresponds with anything. Oh, and of course I got a Roman sestertius out this field as well. Well, at least that's what I think it is. On the last video, right at the death. So, you know, who knows? Could be stuff in this field going way back to the Romans. I'm hoping this is not aluminium. 72. Bit of an iron tone there in the background though. One more. Yeah, not sounding good at all now, is it? Well, we're out and there is iron in the hole, so maybe all is not lost. Maybe. What's that there? It's another bit of lead. Bit curved this time. Is it a thing, or is it just a thing? Look what I've remembered. I was lost without this earlier. Previous dig, so it's a bit of lead. It's kind of curving. Have we got any decoration? This field's produced lots of, oh we have. We've got letters. This field has produced a lot of very weird things. Very weird things. Coins from overseas, fragments of decorated copper and copper alloy. It looks like it's back to front, M-A-N, man. So it looks like maybe typeface for printing, maybe for stamping on something. So it must be some sort of print or transfer. You rub ink on it and then you put it on paper. But anyway, it ends M-A-N by the looks of it. And date-wise, I don't think it's massively old, 100 years give or take. But if you know, comment below. 84. 84 this time. I think another 2 nights of frost and I'm going to be struggling to dig holes, so fingers crossed this is just a wee blip. We've got a lot of air coming down from the Arctic at the moment, a northerly blast. Well, we might have a coin, folks. I did wonder, I thought that sounded slightly coin-like, and I've been going for all of 15 minutes. And it looks like we've got a halfpenny. It's the right size. Wonder if it's gorgeous George. Right, let's get the magic brush. See if we can get some detail. Great. Bizarre, because I wasn't getting a lot of coinage. Well, other than silver. I was beginning to think that they were just throwing away silver coins in this field and not copper ones. There is a head there. Well, can't quite decide at the moment. Oh no, there it is there. Georgius. Yep, so it's George V, I think. Right, I'm going to get the bendy thumb on this off camera. It's a bit crusty, just like all the other copper and base metal coins we've found in this field. But I'll see if I can get a date and maybe clean it up a bit. It's a bit crusty, but there's just enough there to tell. George V, Georgius V. You can just make out a head looking to the left hand side. It's a halfpenny, and even better, I thought there was no chance I'm going to get a date off that, but at the end I can just see 2020. Now he was on the throne from 1910 to 1936, the son of Dirty Bertie, the grandson of Queen Victoria. Well, that wouldn't even buy me a half pint, but it's a coin. We've got another digger, just a couple of yards after the halfpenny. We've got a 79, and I think it's right there. It is. There, look, frozen in the surface. We need to warm this up, thaw it out. In fact, let's get the spade. I think it's a musket ball. Could be a fishing weight. We're very close to the river, so it could be a wee lead weight, but let's see. Oh, it's moving. There we go, we popped it. Well, it's definitely lead. It's got the weight to it. And it is not a lead weight. It's a musket ball, or a pistol shot. So it is lead, and it's probably 1700s. So either a small musket or a big pistol. Well, I suppose that's probably about normal size pistol shot. And probably had a range of about, well, accurate range. Well, I say accurate, but Certainly not by today's standards accurate, but probably a range of about 10 metres, 33 feet give or take. And yeah, 1700s. Could be good, this one. 93, 95, bottle top territory. Coin, Georgian, silver, maybe. Sounds pretty reasonable though, it's out. Sounds even better, but it's away up at 97. Well, we've got a silver. Don't believe it, I'm going to need to rename this field. That is... I can see the letters H-I, shilling. It's another shilling, 1 shilling. And, have we got an imprint? Not really. Oh, there we go. It's gorgeous, George. Nice to see you, George. Especially in gold and silver. Fantastic. I've only been going 35 minutes. Roughly. And we've got silver and a second coin. And it's actually very nice. It's very nice. It's got a much better colour to it. I suppose it's been in the ground less time. A few green spots on it, so it's going to be 50% silver, I'm thinking. Post 1920. '26, I think that is. 1926. A bit worn on the back, but let me clean this up and get back to you. Well, there we go. Look at that for a beautiful sunny day and a beautiful silver coin. George V, by the grace of God, King of the Britons. Beautiful. And on the other side, 1 shilling. Defender of the Faith, Emperor of India. And you can just make out a worn 1926. So, during the middle of the roaring 20s, 1 shilling was 12 pence. And terrible news, folks. I think by this point, because of rising inflation after the Great War, you could only get a pint for about 8 to 10 pence. So this is 12 pence, so this would maybe buy you a pint and a half if you were lucky. So, yeah, not so good. But it's 50% silver instead of 92.5%. And George V was, well, I've been reading up a little bit about him. He was a pretty boring person. He didn't like quite a lot of things. He was quite aggressive. He was quite a shouty individual. Someone actually left comments saying he wasn't that gorgeous on a previous video. And yeah, you're right enough. I call him Gorgeous George, but his personality left a lot to be desired. He was, for want of a better description, a bit of a bully. He was very horrible to his children. And it's no surprise that his son, Edward VIII, decided to rebel and to give up the crown, to be replaced by George VI, his other son, after he died. And yeah, George VI had a terrible stammer, probably not helped by his father's terrible attitude. And yeah, he was a bit of a complicated character. Apparently on one occasion I read that George V caught his then wife, Mary of Teck, not long before he died, reading a copy of a scandalous book of the time called Lady Chatterley's Lover. And he confiscated it for her in disgust, only to be caught a few days later reading it himself. So there you go. George V, 12 pence, silver. Fantastic. This is an absolute screamer. 94, 96. I mean, it could be a great big bit of lead, could be a bottle top, could be, dare I say, another silver coin. I'm only 15 feet away from the last one. I think it's going to be fairly shallow. Well, I thought it would be in the frozen stuff. It's a lot smaller than I was expecting. Or I've dug completely in the wrong place. What's that? No. Is there 2 targets or something? What is going on here? Right, I don't know what's going on. I think that's it. Ah, there it is there, look. It's a great big... What is that? Oh, I thought it was lead, but it's not bending. Well, whatever it is, it's got a nail in it, so it's not particularly old. Oh well, junk, methinks. I gave it a wee clean. It's actually a door plate. Like, there's a keyhole. And it's got this weird bit on the back. What is that? It almost looks like a key stuck to the back of it, doesn't it? But it is attached, so maybe it's swung over. Oh, I think it did, look. Because that would swing to cover the lock, so it must be to keep the wind or to keep the moisture out the mechanism. But yeah, an old door plate, I think. Oh well. This one was a wee bit scratchy. 7071. And there, ladies and gents, is another thimble. I think. It is. It's a thimble. Look at that for an impression. You can see every little bit of the lattice on there. Well, it's not silver. Don't think so anyway. Let's get the wee tool, dig it out. And I'm sorry that the prize, the competition for 30,000 subscribers still hasn't happened yet. Every time I'm just about to do it, something gets in the way. But it will be coming soon. Will be coming soon. I hope it's worth the wait. But yeah, there we go. It's a thimble. Very similar to previous ones. Copper alloy, and probably couple of hundred years old at best. Nice. A little broken, but otherwise in pretty good nick. Tiny fingers back then. Another screamer. I must have dug 30 holes so far, and I've only been here an hour. So as I say, it is a busy field, certainly in this part. Big Roman Sestertius would be nice. Moved it. There. Ah, might actually be a coin. I think it is. I think it is a coin. Ah, it's a button. It's a button. Ah, well, not to be. There would have been a maker on the back. You can see the line with an odd wee letter there, but long since gone. Still got the loop though. Doesn't look too worn, so maybe lost fairly quickly after it was made, or after it was sewn onto a jacket. And date-wise, well, it's probably a couple of 100 years, maybe even 300 years old, so a nice wee piece of social history. I'm up at the other end of the field. Definitely quieter up here, but to be honest, I'm just wanting to explore the field. It's a massive field. It's about 150 acres, so I'm not wanting to focus too much in one area, unless of course there's a great big hoard of gold coins. So I'm wanting to spread around as much as I can just to see if there's any hot spots. There's also an old farmstead which is in the far corner, which is on a map about 350 years ago, so there's probably been something there for quite a long time before that as well. And we've got this big curious lump of lead. So big old piece, but no St Andrew on it. Here's a tip for you: if you're ever metal detecting and your hands are getting cold and you're filming and you've had a quiet spell, which I have, 20 minutes without a signal, put a pair of gloves on. I guarantee you'll get a target within about 3 minutes, and that's exactly what's happened. So I've had to take my gloves off already. But it's a Georgian coin, I think. I'm going to get the bendy thumb on it once it's fully dried out, which shouldn't take long, and then I'll get back to you. This side is Britannia. You can see that sort of ball gown that I always describe. One there. So it's definitely a British coin. And this side, look, it's already coming to life a little bit. There is a head on there, and by the power of the bendy thumb, it's coming to life, looking to the left hand side. And I can just see 1-1. So it would say George, there's the G, Georgios, the second, Rex. There's an R as well. So it's George the Second. I've had a few George the Seconds. I think Martin had or was it Simon, had an Irish issue. I've had a very nice condition George II, and this is another one. So date wise, 1727 to 1760. So during the time of the, well, several Jacobite rebellions, but the main one being Bonnie Prince Charlie and Culloden, 1745, which ended in defeat at Culloden in 1746. So there you go, a halfpenny, and that would certainly buy you a couple of pints. What did I tell you about putting gloves on? That's 2 targets in 2 minutes. And I think we've got a curse tablet this time. Look, it's a rolled up piece of lead. You can see it's been one big long strip. It's got these funny marks in this end. Not sure why that is and what's happened, but well, who knows? It could be a Roman curse tablet. It could be just a scrap of lead. You know, someone could keep this in their pocket so that they could make musket balls while they were in the field, just a little scrap. But I'm certainly not unwinding it to see if there's a Roman curse in it from the 2nd century. I don't want that on my, don't want to ruin the karma. 93 to 96. Well, more of a solid 94, 95 now. Come on. It's a very loud target. I wouldn't say it's crisp though, so I don't think it's going to be a silver. Saying that in the hope that I'm wrong. There's something right there. And it's a bottle top. It's a bottle top, and it's a fairly modern one, I think. And worst of all, there's no decoration on there whatsoever. Oh well. It's a contender for a coin. $87, $88. You know, got a bit quiet again, but the gloves are off. It's getting a wee bit warmer. Been going for about 2.5 hours. I think we might have a clod. No, we don't. It's there. It's there. I can feel something heavy. Bit of lead. It is a bit of lead. Is it a good bit of lead, or is it a junk bit of lead? I think it's a junk bit of lead. Oh no, something on there. Well, we might have a thing at long last. On the back, looks pretty plain. On this side, well, there's something going on there, but it might just be little squiggles, little lines. Can't see anything discernible as a pattern or a design, but well, if you can, then you know what to do. Well, it's a thing. And this one's not bad. 94, 95, 97. Bottle top. Georgian brass. Pretty good target. It's got a nice crisp sort of sound to it. Oh, that's a silver. 100%. We've got another one. George III. An early George III, or a late George III. It looks milled. It is a silver coin. And I think we've got George III. In fact, it can't be George III. He's looking the wrong way. That can't be George III. He looks to the right. It's George IV. It's a George IV silver. I don't think I've ever had a George IV silver. Have I? No, I have. I've had a half crown before, I think. A year ago or so. But that is, I think that's George IV. Let's get the magic water out. It is. IV. Georgius IV, and look at the colour of that. That is an absolute cracker. And it's got a letter, 2 letters maybe, an F and a J. 1826. Look at the tone on that coin. That is an absolute beauty. Absolute beauty. Oh, get you in the shot might help. Right, let's do the back. Maybe a shilling? It's not one I've ever had before, that's for sure. It's upside down. It's definitely not one I've had before. That is a first. Another first. What is it with this field? It's just littered full of bizarre things that I've never had before. Fantastic. There you go. Had a wee rub-a-dub, and that is an absolute cracker of a coin. Look at the condition of that. So it's going to be 92, 94, maybe even higher percentage of silver. A beautiful tone on it. Britannium Rex Fide Defensor. So, King of the Britons and Defender of the Faith. And you've got the lion with a crown. And at the bottom, it looks like you've got the symbols of Ireland, the Rose of England, and the Thistle of Scotland. On the other side, he's upside down. Georgius IV de Gratia, George IV by the grace of God. A very, very rare coin in silver. Very rare. I think I've only ever had one silver coin of George IV in 24 years prior to this one. 1826. Now, I don't know if that's FJ. I think that's been added. I think someone... Let's zoom you in a bit. I think someone's graffitied the coin. Maybe to make it into a brooch. Maybe as some sort of love token. But if you think that that is how all the coins looked, then let me know. But yeah, it could well be someone's initials. Maybe some sort of love token. That is an absolute cracker, isn't it? Look at the detail on that coin. Almost 200 years old. And I'm guessing probably lost fairly soon after it was made, because it's got lots of very good detail on it. It's not worn at all. Lovely tone. It's got that beautiful grey colour that you get on silver when it's been in the ground for a while. I'm right on the extreme edge of the field, very close to the edge. And it's clearly much drier ground here. It's not black like a lot of the other silver coins have been. And George IV, he was the son of George III. And he was officially king from 1820 to about 1830, about 10 years. He's a very rare coin in silver, a bit like Edward VII. In fact, probably even more so. He did actually act as regent for his father, George III, because he had a bout of mental illness which incapacitated him from about 1810. He had to be basically retired as king, and George IV became the regent of the United Kingdom. George IV, as I say, officially ruled from 1820 to 1830. He was a little bit like Edward VII, Dirty Bertie. He was the playboy prince. He was living very excessively. He wasn't hugely popular with the British public. He spent massive amounts of money. He spent tens of millions of pounds on Buckingham Palace. And even his coronation, he really took the mickey with his coronation. In today's money, his father's coronation cost £1 million. His, in contrast, cost £25 million. And he just spent money like water. He had a terrible relationship with his father and his mother, George III and Queen Charlotte. He had a terrible relationship with his wife, Dorothy, I think her name was. And he tried to divorce her unsuccessfully. And he famously came to Scotland. He came to Edinburgh in 1822. And he was the first British monarch to bother their backside to come to Scotland since 1651. So we had 171 years when the British monarchy didn't even come to Scotland. And they wonder why a lot of people in Scotland don't really pay much attention to the royal family. And part of the reason for that is that they didn't pay very much attention to us. Imagine not coming to Scotland for 171 years when we're just up the road. I think he also visited Ireland the year before, 1821 possibly. And he was the first monarch to visit Ireland since about 1350. So the Irish were treated even worse than the Scots. When he did come to Scotland in 1822, he came for about 2 weeks. He came by boat, and the whole visit was stage managed by the top selling author, the biggest selling author in the world at the time, Sir Walter Scott. Sir Walter Scott had told him when he was the Prince Regent, that he should come to Scotland, and he was unsure if he should because no one had come for so long. And he famously came in 1822. He went to Edinburgh, and there was a huge ceremony. Tens of thousands of people came to see a king because they'd never seen one before. And he famously wore a kilt. The only problem was he wore a kilt that was about the length of a miniskirt, and worse still, he paired it with pink tights. And apparently a lot of women who were in attendance at the ball and when he marched down the procession in the street, they remarked that they saw a lot more of the king than they expected. Bit of a windy day apparently. So he was one of the first, well, in fact he was the first official monarch as far as I'm aware to wear a kilt. So he helped with the rebirth of the wearing of a modern kilt in Scotland. So there you go. Talked a lot about that, but he was a pretty busy man. And, well, he had a pretty entertaining life. But 4 years before he died, and I'm guessing this is a shilling, which would be 12 pence. Now in 1900, you could buy a pint for 12 pence. So in 1826, poof, this is a serious amount of money. I'm guessing maybe 20 pints, but either way, an absolute cracker. So if you know about the F and the J, then let me know in the comments below. What a coin. I think this could definitely be a coin. I've said that loads of times, but if you listen to the tone, it sounds pretty high pitch. It's 88. Could be a wee penny. Could be a wee penny. Am I in the right place? Maybe it's more like there. Nope, it's just a bit deeper. Much deeper than it sounded. What's going on here? Try a wee bit out of there. Didn't sound deep at all. Right, let's get the pinpointer out. Figure this out. Ah, there you go, you just saw it pop. It's a coin. Has got to be a coin. Well, I only got the silver about 20 feet away. So hopefully we're on a wee hot spot. Are we going to get an impression? Not really. Well, it doesn't look very crusty. Oh, it's just fallen off. It's very sandy here actually. Right. It's you know who. Look at the condition. Much, much better. We're obviously off the waterlogged sort of soil that's nearer the river. We're further away from the floodplain. And that is a penny. Have we got a date? We do. We've got 1915. Yep, 1915. 1915, so during the Great War again. And that man himself, Boring George. I'm still going to call him Gorgeous George, but let's call him Boring George. I know he hated the company of people. He hated seeing women wearing nail varnish. He hated seeing women smoking, especially in public. How scandalous. And he hated his wife reading Lady Chatterley's Lover, although he was then caught reading it himself. So there you go, George V. It sounded like big iron, and I think that qualifies is big iron. There you go, maybe a spearhead. I think a bit off a plough. Still down there. Going to turn you off and get back to you. What a nightmare to dig 16 inches down for some sort of fish in oil. What a disaster. A wee bit like a tomback, kind of. No, I think it is. Tomback button, missing the loop. And, well, probably Georgian again. George the Third kind of era, late 1700s into the early 1800s. Has to be another coin. Ear blower. Solid 85, very, very crisp. It's got to be a penny. Has to be a penny. It's not a penny. Something big and green and round. Maybe a horse brass? Ah, it's not. It's got a great big... What is that? Yeah. I was going to say maybe it's the base of a candlestick, but it's not even that because it's got a big bit sticking out on the bottom. Well, it's something that would attach to something because there's 3 holes in it and a random little bit sticking out. Agricultural? I don't know. But unfortunately it's pretty much junk. This was a 79. It's kind of oval. It looks kind of like it's made of lead. We might have another saddler's badge. I'm going to start to clean it up. And if it becomes visible and gives away the game as to where I am, I'm going to stop the video right now. It might just be a horse decoration rather than a maker. But it is, oh no, it's not, it's got writing on it. It has got writing on it. So, are we going to be able to identify it? Let's clean up the back a wee bit. So the back's normally always rough. This is where it would obviously have been attached to the underside of the saddle. Oh, we've got a pretty clear bit of writing there. I just can't make it out. What on earth does that say? I've got it. I've figured it out. It says Patterson, Saddler, and then it says Cooper Angus. Cooper Angus. So thankfully that's nowhere near me. So I can show you it. So Cooper Angus is about 15 miles away from where I am. And Patterson clearly was a saddle maker in Cooper Angus. So I'll look that up online, see if I can find any information out, but my guess would be probably around 1850 to 1900. So that's a really nice bit of social history. I wonder where Mr. Patterson is nowadays. Wonder if his company's still going in any form. I did a little bit of research online about my saddler's badge of Patterson with 1 T, which is unusual, normally it's double T, from Cooper Angus. And I was able to find Charles Bruce Patterson, saddler, Cooper Angus. Couldn't find out very much about his business. However, he is buried in Cooper Angus Parish Cemetery, having died on the 14th of January 1907, aged 44. Which is the same age as me. His wife, who was called Janet Adam, she didn't do any better. She died in October of 1901, aged only 39. They did, though, have a daughter called Janet Bruce Adam Patterson, and she died in July of 1975 at the ripe old age of 75. However, based on that, she lost her mother at 15 months, and she lost her father at 6.5 years. So that must have been a tough upbringing for her. But it's an interesting little thing, and it's amazing how these individual items can bring a little bit of history to life. And obviously, it can't be any more modern than 1907. We've got a coin contender. No, maybe not. 86, but it sounds more aluminium-y. Aluminium-y. New word. Well, I was totally wrong, because look at that, right there. It's something big and round, and it is a coin. Haha! Well, it's been a bit quiet recently, so I'm glad to see it. It's a penny, pre-decimal, maybe Victoria? Oh, I don't believe it. Not again. It's miserable George. Gorgeous George. George the stamp collector. Not that there's anything wrong with collecting stamps. It's just that's how he got his kicks in life. So yeah, George V, 1 penny. So is it early? 1910, have we got a half pint? Or is it later when inflation's taken over and it's not even going to get as a fraction of a pint? It's 1920, I think. Oh, it's even later, it's 1928. 1928. So, well, it's another coin. It's another gorgeous George, grandson of Queen Victoria. And, well, it's better than aluminium. An absolute screamer of an 83. It could be just about anything, to be honest, from aluminium to lead to silver to a coin. But it's vanished. Maybe it's a coin and I've turned it on its edge. Well, it's something out now. Coin again would be lovely. Ah, there it is there, look. It is a coin. It's a half penny, by the look of it. It's a bit crusty though. It's a bit crusty. Oh, so it's not looking left. I think it's Dirty Bertie. Oh no, it's not. Ah, damn, it is looking left. I'm looking at the wrong angle of the coin. It's George V again. George. Right, I'll clean this up and get back to you. Unfortunately, the back is pretty much toasted. You can just make out an arm of Britannia, not much else. The date would have been down here, but I think it's a goner. The other side is a bit better. You can just make out George now looking to the right, George V. So sometime again between 1910 and 1936. I told you he was their most common coin find, and that's 2 of them, just a few minutes apart. We've got another coin contender. 86. Could it be a hat trick? 3 coins back to back. I doubt it. Back on the junk, I think. Oh, well, it's not. It's a lead seal, I think. I think it's very chunky. Maybe it's a weight. Oh, it's a hem button. It is. Well, not a coin, but, well, not too bad. See the couple of dots in it? Couple of dots. It's got a number. It's got a number 3. So that must be the weight of the hem button, I'm guessing. And on this side, a little circle. Maybe a maker, maybe a little design, or maybe just a random little circle of lead. But yeah, it's a hem button. So for sewing into the pleats of a lady's skirt. Stop it blowing up in the wind. Probably Victorian, 1830, 1900-ish sort of period. But still, a nice find. So, unfortunately, I had a few technical difficulties with the microphone, and the volume didn't work for my summary, and also sadly to see little Jura as well. So it was a great day's detecting. I had 6 coins, which was more than I expected, and quite a few interesting relics. So let's have a wee look at what we found. So that is the best of the best. 6 coins. We got 2 pennies, 2 halfpennies, and double silver. So a George IV, which I believe is a shilling from 1826. The George V, which is also a shilling, albeit 50%. A George II halfpenny from the 1720s through to 1760. 2 George V pennies, and a George V halfpenny. And then we got a thimble, a few bits of lead, a musket ball, a little bit of an imprint. Looks like the word man back to front for probably putting on paper. The little Roman curse tablet, if it is. Well, I'm not going to open it just in case. And then a nice little saddler's badge of Patterson of Cooper Angus. And here is camera shy Jura. Jura, come. Good girl. So there she is. Say hello. You a good girl? She's growing up fast, and she's just had her first birthday, and she's off. So thank you for watching. If you like what you saw and you're not already subscribed, then please hit that button, and hopefully we'll see you all on the next dig. So take care, and thanks for watching.